Pro golfer Bubba Watson wants to change the General Lee. Oh no. He wants to remove the Confederate flag from the famous Dukes of Hazzard car from the show that was, back in the 1970s, 1980s?
Yeah, a show that all of a sudden has so many fans that are devastated.
Interesting how that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Bubba Watson, as I said, he's a pro golfer, and he recently bought... now, there's been so many different copies, right, of the General Lee, which is, of course, this famous car. So many different copies that have been sold and smashed and used during the show. This is one from the original first episode, right, that was kind of junked out, but it was fixed and then it was sold on auction. Mr. Watson, of course, bought it, and he said, look, I want to remove the Confederate flag from the top and replace it with the rainbow. No, I'm kidding. The American flag. That would really make conservative heads explode if they put the rainbow flag on it. But no, the American flag in the place of what was the Confederate flag. And as I said, in his Twitter feed, Watson made this statement about this. He says, look, all men are created equal. I believe so I will be painting the American flag over the roof of the General Lee. Hashtag USA.
Right on. I saw this. It's his property now, so I mean, he can do what he wants. If he wants to do that, that's a gesture he's allowed to make.
Absolutely.
And if he wanted to leave it as is, that's also, his prerogative.
Right. Now, conservatives are often pointing out how we're trying to take away their freedom of speech by removing the flag. No, what we really want to do is we want to remove the flag from state houses. Mm-hmm. Right? From government property, because we don't think that it should be there. Mm-hmm. And we don't think that that flag is representative of what, the government should be able to... I mean, it's a symbol, right? And if the government, a state house, is flying that symbol, well, it's a symbol of division and ultimately slavery. Now, you could say that it's a symbol of our heritage, right? The heritage, not hate. But remember,
I think we've debunked that a number of times. Right. I feel like that's been debunked so many times.
Well, there are some people that still continue to believe that, but they brought it back in the 1960s, the civil rights era, in order to fight racial integration in schools.
Yeah, they brought it back in protest of the desegregation of schools.
I don't want to go to school with black people, so Confederate flag, freedom.
Yeah.
Why are you taking away my freedom?
And again, like we pointed this out too, that was a battle flag. The flag that they actually used, that was a battle flag that saw its resurgence because it was adopted by the KKK. So I mean, it's just purely racist history. Mm-hmm. So the heritage argument is just so null and void. But some people, they're going to hang on to it no matter what. No matter what anyone else says, no matter what anyone else points out. Some people just aren't going to let that go.
Right.
I mean, I was in Columbia while the big protests were going on because I was on tour there. So I was in Columbia. So I saw it, and I saw both sides. And I don't know if you saw on the news, there was a fight that broke out. I saw that. I saw the brawl. I wasn't part of it, but I did see it. And there were just some people that they're not gonna drop that ideology no matter what.
Right. So okay, so. They're not this Bubba Watson, right? He's not the only one to disavow, of course, any association to the Confederacy. Earlier on, NASCAR dropped it. Said, okay, leave your flags at home. If you got them, fine, but we don't want to see them at our races. When NASCAR drops it, okay, it's kind of a big deal. However, I want to ask this question: is the next example going too far? Now, TV Land, right, which is the old-time channel that showed, old-time TV shows, of course, at night, decided to pull episodes of Dukes of Hazzard over the flag on the car. Now, that's interesting. Do you think that's too far?
I don't know. And part of the, because... First of all, I'm not familiar with that show. I've never really cared or watched. I think I tried to sit through the movie once, and I got bored really quick, and it wasn't for me, right? There is a Dukes of Hazzard movie, right?
Yes. I think it had Oh gosh, now I can't.
It was
even,
like Billy Bob, right? And I don't know. Anyway,
I can't even think of her name, but
yeah, I sat through that. It was pretty boring. Didn't do much for me. I don't really care for the show at all. So when I saw that TV Land was pulling it, I didn't really care, and I just kind of saw this as just a publicity stunt by them. And that's still
interesting.
That's all I think this is. I mean, you know, I'm not a big TV guy, Jeff, and I know you're not really either, but if I had to take an educated guess, I would say that TV Land is not necessarily swimming in the ratings. I'm sure they're doing okay. I'm sure they have their fan base, and the fact that they appeal to older people, I guess, does help, because those are a lot of people that are still watching the most TV.
Okay.
But I don't think they're necessarily doing outstanding, and I think this might have just been a publicity grab, and that's kind of all I think that was. So
that's kind of an interesting sort of direction that you took it. That's something that I hadn't considered. I hadn't considered that this could be a publicity stunt, or I was sort of thinking that it could be because of the backlash. It could be that a lot of people are kind of turning against it. However, there was a poll that was taken that showed that 57% of Americans, I believe, didn't see the flag as a racist symbol or a hateful symbol, but saw it more as a heritage symbol. So what they did, Southern leaders, in order to turn around and kind of whitewash the history of this whole flag, was very, very successful even today.
Well, and I think that's changing. I mean, I think more and more people, and then, we bring up NASCAR, we bring up all these other things. The big thing with the whole flag issue that we've talked about on this show is that people are finally saying, we're not going to passively accept stuff like this anymore, and it starts with the flag, and hopefully in the future we rise up and say, we're not going to passively accept a group like the NRA having such a stronghold on Congress. We're not going to accept that anymore. That's not okay. So I think that's kind of the evolution we're seeing taking place. However, some of these things are going to be drawn out so much, and it's going to be to the point where they kind of just distract people from other stuff that's going on. And, I think in the case of the Dukes of Hazzard thing, I think that was just more of a publicity grab than anything else.
All right. Well, that's a fair assumption. I can't say that I necessarily agree with it. I think it's more complex than that, I think, but that's just
so the issue as a whole is
right.
The Dukes of Hazzard chapter of it. I don't think is. The issue as a whole is it does not have the same merit or weight as the State House and what's going on there. This is just a small sidebar, one that I think is kind of a publicity grab.
All right, so
publicity grab.
One more question though that I have. Now, and it's something that I sort of have an issue with, just based on when I think in some instances there are people that are overreacting. I know, right? And I'm the guy who's trying to educate people on, hey, this flag does stand as a symbol of racism and hate. However, one thing that I had a problem with is there were I'm a gamer, so I've seen some Civil War video games being pulled, right? Because they have the flag in them. However, my argument is, why pull that when it's historical context? If you're not even going to show the other side, and this battle flag is a part of history. Now, it should be shown within complete context, not pulled completely because the flag itself is offensive. If you're going to pull games or even movies that show historical context of this flag and how it was originally used back in 1865 by I believe a Virginia regiment, right? Because this was a battle flag. I forget which regiment in Virginia. I don't even know if it's Virginia, to be honest with you.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know either.
But it was a battle flag for a specific military group. And I think that if you're going to include that group into a game, it should be available. It shouldn't be pulled. I think that is overreaction. I think that is too much. Removing it from the State House is absolutely fine. And when it comes to other things like Walmart and eBay and different companies pulling it, and even this guy painting over it, I think that's fine because that's more of personal, that's free market kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But also I think it's a little bit too much when you start pulling stuff when it has the flag in complete context.
I agree. No, I fully agree with you. I mean, I'm not familiar with the video game stuff because I'm not a gamer myself, but based on what you described, yeah, I think that's a bit much. I think that it does have historical context, and if you're using it within that frame, why would you? I mean, what are you just going to put up like a question mark or something? No, you should just use what was there. You should acknowledge the history that was there.
Right, and what they're doing is that they're trying to eliminate the historical context, but really what we need to have this historical context so we can learn from that history. You know the old saying, right? If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it, right?
Right.
Well, let's keep this around as a historical context. It does belong in a museum, not on the grounds of our state capitol. You know, and anything that's in a historical context, like if Walmart wants to choose to pull it, that's fine. That's free market. That's their decision, right? And even if Walmart wants to pull games, right, that's also their decision, even though I'm against that. I think that's overdoing it a bit much, right? But it is their decision. But when it comes to the State House, as I said, that's government. That's the state. You're sending a message of that particular state, and that's when it should go down.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
context
totally
matters.
Right. Well, then let me ask you, Jeff. I think maybe you should answer your question. Do you think the Dukes of Hazzard thing was overreach? Because, you know, I mean, I think it was just a publicity grab by TV Land, and I think I highly doubt a ton of people were watching it anyway. But do you think that was an overreach?
I actually do.
You do?
I do. Like, I haven't. I'm not like a big fan of the show either, right? I haven't sat there and really watched it all that much. But from what I know, it's not like they were endorsing a sort of. And maybe I'm wrong, right? But I don't think the guys were on there were racist, right? There's nothing in there that tells me that they were racist. The whole idea of the show was using it, I guess, in a way that it was whitewashing the past, right? And trying to do the heritage sort of, like the heritage meaning of the flag. That we're going against the law. We're going against, you know, this corrupt police official boss hog. But we're just some old Southern boys, not meaning no harm, right? Look, right. I think it's fine. It's sort of the same thing that older TV shows. I mean, if you can remember, there were older Bugs Bunny episodes that were actually quite racist. Are we going to pull those?
That's true.
Are we going to pull anything that? No, let's show them in context to kind of show how our attitudes have changed since then about this.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And part of the reason I wasn't really in camp yay or nay and said I think this is just a publicity grab is because, you know, I kind of think it is, and B, because I don't know enough about the show. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see where you're coming from there. So yeah. And
as I said, I'm not a fan of this flag. I know I have to point it out many times. It is a symbol of racism, and it was used to fight against racial integration, and used by the KKK. I have no way defending the flag, but at the same time, let's be reasonable about this and not just ban it for the sake of banning it, without kind of looking into a case-by-case basis and look at the context of things. Just calm down with the banning of things. Let's not overreact. Let's not have this knee-jerk reaction of completely get rid of it. It is part of our history. I think we have to accept that, and we have to accept the lessons learned from that history so that we don't do stuff like this again.